So Gaijin just did kind of a big update on how you can detect ground vehicles when you are using a ground vehicle, using sound and whatnot, and some other things as well. So let's talk about the last update that we had today on the game and talk about the changes that we had in the ground vehicles. So the first thing is that there was a little bug that caused desynchronization of the position of the moving targets on the ground that was fixed, which is pretty good. And then we go for the big things. Basically, they changed the main thing here is that they changed the way that you are gonna detect targets when you are in the ground. So, among other things, they say this will change the sounds of vehicles becoming more consistent, stable, and predictable, they say. There were some bugs that meant that you couldn't detect some targets, or you could in different scenarios that wouldn't be realistic. So the first thing that they did here is that they actually separated the actual like proper detection, absolute detection of enemies from the range according to the skill set that you had. So previously, for example, you had a 215 meters of an absolute, detection range. So if a target get into that range, you will hear it, you will see it, it doesn't matter what happens, right? And that was basically going according, to the skill that you had in the Keen Vision skill, okay? But now this will not be a thing anymore. So now it will be 215 meters for all vehicles, for all skills, it doesn't matter what. And if you have the improved optics modification, it will be 280 meters. So there are some vehicles that have this type of modification that will increase. For example, DBMPs, like small vehicles like that, they have this type of modification that you can have. This change was made, they say, for transparency, making sure that you can actually see the targets without too many bugs, especially with sound when they are near you, So, yeah. Before there were some weird things that were happening, and now that's fixed with this, which is pretty good. The second thing is that there was basically a bug that was making engine sounds and track sounds of a vehicle, of a scouted target vehicle, basically making you be able to hear it from a very long distance. So if the target was scouted, detected with a reconnaissance, skill, like the reconnaissance thing, the button, the V button that you click and you scout somebody with a light vehicle and stuff. Basically, that would mean that you could basically hear the vehicles from a very great distance, a greater distance than anything else. Yeah, that has been fixed because although, yes, a vehicle is being scouted, it doesn't mean that you can hear it more just because a vehicle is being scouted. I mean, it doesn't make any sense in real life and in the game. So they fixed that, which is pretty good. And with the scouted bug, there was a problem with the theoretical radius of audibility, I don't know how to pronounce that, of the engines and tracks. So because of that scout bug, basically they reduce it from 400 meters to 215 meters that you can actually listen to a target. So it's kind of a nerf, but not really at the same time, because in reality you wouldn't notice these sounds unless you would play a little bit with the sound and remain in total silence, and it was going to be for scouted targets. But now it is going to be a little bit more fixed, and no exploit can be done using some form of scout or anything with that because of this. So they changed it from 400 to 215. Okay, 215. So basically means that no matter what, the range that you hear an actual tank sound will not go past 215 meters, which is realistic, I would say. I mean, it's 200 meters. It's a long range for you to be listening that closely to a tank, right? Especially in the middle of a battle. And because of how they are working with this, and the removal basically of that scout bug of increasing the range that you can hear a target, there will not be any more abruptly, appearing sounds out of nowhere, that it's just an engine out of nowhere turning it on your side because somebody scouted a vehicle or something like that, which is not optimal, right? So basically they are, in a general sense, making it a little bit more realistic and fixing bugs on how sound is detected and making it so that skill or scouting wouldn't increase the range of your hearing ability, which, makes it up for being a lot less a lot more predictable and less exploitable, I must say, to find targets with sound. It is a lot more realistic, right? Of course, remember that obviously gun sounds will be reproduced. You will be able to hear them with a radius of 2 kilometers, right? So the gun sounds of shooting and everything, this will be heard no matter the things that they changed. So it will still be 2 kilometers, which is somewhat of a good range in my opinion. Of course, going down in sound, of course, the longer the distance it is, right? And there was also, last but not least, for the tanks, there was a bug that caused the enemy engine sound, to basically disappear behind obstacles, leaving only the sound of the track. So now together with the other bug reports and bug fixes that they did, you will be a lot more realistic, predictable, and a lot better to hear tanks on your surroundings in general, okay, without too much of an exploit with the range with the scout bug as well. So in a general sense, a lot of fixes for sounds in tanks, which is pretty interesting. They also, in this update, just to let you know, they changed the way that AIM-7P worked. Basically there was a bug with target acquisition, so now it is fixed. So the AIM-7P of the F-18C early is working properly. And another thing about sounds is that the sound of the F-18, pulling a lot of AOA, the critical angle of attack, like volume of alarm, it is reduced in all modifications of the F-18. Basically, it was very annoying before, and now it is a lot better, okay? So basically that's it, guys. I know it's not a lot, but I think it was big enough for me to do a video about in the ground vehicles. We are still waiting for the tests and everything with the SEED mission that might be coming. Keep an eye out on check it out, the video that I already posted with the Meteor, testing the new Meteor as well. I know it's not the most interesting vehicle ever for an event, but it is a collectible that you can get. I tested the vehicle already, but yeah, basically this is it. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to subscribe, leave a like, leave a comment, and bye guys, see ya.